Oh, there we are. We're live. You got your what are those called? Reindeers on?
Reindeer antlers, got a Merry Christmas shirt on.
Nice. I have my elf.
Grinch light.
What is going on, Jennifer Lacey?
Nothing. How are you, Jesse?
Oh, I'm good. I got me some fresh coffee.
Yes,
Trying to make sure the thing is up on the LinkedIn.
that's important.
Yeah. I posted all this stuff, so I'm probably gonna have to do that again.
And we're talking about one of your favorite topics today.
Favorite topic in the world. All right, folks. What's going on, NoBS tribe? Here we are.
Yes.
Tell us where you're calling from. If you're a first timer in the chat, leave a blue heart so we can love on you. Wasn't it? No, it wasn't this time last year. It was probably later in December, right?
Yes, it's so close. It's like almost a month. No, almost a year exactly now, because in December is when what happened?
You decided to renovate your house.
That is true. Which we have some stories on that today, but that's for a little bit later. But no, actually, absolutely December. But also when you and I kind of did some brainstorming and had to had some conversations about like what's next and what are we going to do, and that's where this whole
NoBS with Genesis
was formed.
Yes, I remember because Alex and I were sitting down designing our branding, which of course got rejected, but we still maintained some elements of that.
Yes.
Miss Leslie, good morning, Leslie. She's coming in from the New York City. What's going on, sister? Oh man. Leslie, have you recovered from like the enormous amount of calories from was it yesterday? What's today? Saturday? No, 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Yes.
Yeah. I'm still in a carb fog. I ate too much, but it was good. It was super good. Oh yeah, here we go. Now they're coming in. Mr. Justin says, good morning,
Justin.
Charlotte. Man, Justin and Hoots. Just so y'all know, DJ Hootie Hoots is in the background, spinning the ones and twos. They had their NoBS breakfast in the Carolinas. I wonder, was it South Carolina or North Carolina that y'all were in? Because I always get them confused. Anyhow, I'm a little jealous. I didn't get to hang out with those people.
But we had one in DFW that worked out.
That's right. We did have one.
We did have one. So we absolutely had one right before Adam. So we beat him.
You know what I like is Jen likes to always put a competitive tone to things, and like she drops it and then she backs out and like, why are y'all getting excited? Well, you start the damn pot. Like, come on.
Everything's a competition.
Yes. Look at that. We got Miss Amy coming in from Maryland today, and so she's not in North Carolina. She's letting Amy know. Oh, yeah, here we go. We got everybody coming. We got Miss Donna Pearson coming in from Minnesota.
Good morning, Dana.
Be on oh my goodness, they're popping up, bro. We got the chief marketeer coming in from Connecticut. It's spelled like that, isn't it? With the C in the middle.
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
That's how you spell it. You say it like that.
That's where the Connecticons come from. Maria Martin. She says, good morning, my siblings. Dad passed this Monday, so I'll be listening with you guys so much. Yeah, today's going to be a big one. Mm-hmm. Who we got? Leslie says, I burned off a lot of calories on Thanksgiving Day morning. Oh, that's right. She was at the Thanksgiving Day parade.
She did a post for me on the Macy's Day Parade. I remember. It was awesome.
Yes. Have you ever been to the parade, Jen?
No. And my mom is from up in Philadelphia area, so I remember going up for the holidays and going down and, being able to be all in that spirit, but not New York for the parade. No.
I caught the back end of it one year. And and actually part of that story is in my first book, so y'all will have to keep an eye.
Nice.
You know what? I forgot. We got to make an announcement. We had
Okay.
we had like a Lean and Love competition.
Yes.
Well, we were in New Orleans, and there was a winner. Do you remember who the winner was?
It was Adam, wasn't it? Yeah, Adam won.
Yes, Adam won. The reason I'm remembering is because Buddy, Buddy's always keeping me on point. He told me like, bro, you need like Jess, you gotta announce it. Like, oh damn, I forgot. So Adam was the winner, and Adam has volunteered his award to somebody. So we're gonna have to figure that one out. I have an idea.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that later. And then guess who's coming in? Buddy Brumley said
from the recliner.
What is that? Oh, so that means he's not at work.
I know that doesn't happen a lot.
All right, you get some gold stars there, buddy. Thank you for doing that. And then Miss Cindy coming in from H-Town.
Yes,
Cindy's awesome. We've had a few conversations. She is amazing. She's got one of those brilliant minds that does all kinds of crazy things.
Those are good people.
Yeah, that's like the awesome thing, right? Is the tribe is just packed with amazing people that have magical talents, even though we may not be aware of them. We do have them
very much, and sometimes we bring them out in each other.
Absolutely. Oh, and then Holly says, "Good morning." They had the best holiday with family and friends.
Awesome.
I'm wondering, Holly, was there any editing going on while you were with the family? I'm joking. I'm joking because she's an editor. She helps people transform into authors. So y'all need to follow her. So what are we talking about today, Jen? Like, are we just going to talk about food? Because I'm down with that.
Well, we're talking about a topic that's near and dear to your heart. So this is why we had to make sure we had an episode completely focused on it, is the holidays in general, because we know like we're in this mode of like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and there are a lot of things that happen during this time. Like, we can talk about the parade, and we can talk about these, things that make us happy and joyful and, all of that. But we also need to make sure we also mix with that those lows and those things that can cause people to not be okay. Maria mentioned one, grief, things that maybe there's triggers and memories of things, whether it's right now you're dealing with it or things that have happened in the past, that the holidays kind of make it a little more personal or prominent. And so you're not in the same place as everyone else. And I think what I love about the topic today, and that you and I are talking about it, is that we kind of look at the holidays different, for different reasons and things like that. And so I think it'll be fun to talk through some of the, those traditional, oh my gosh, you should be excited and this, put a tree up and all that. And then, you have a little bit different take on some of that stuff.
Well, so yes, I have a very different take on it. And it's like the pressure of like, get excited. It's Christmas. So I went and decorated. Like I decorated last night, went out for a long run, and my the video security thing, what is it? The bell or whatever it is. This is what happens. I decide to do damn Christmas crap, and then this is what happens. Like I can't win. I try to get all like holiday season-y, and then some fool breaks in and jacks all my stuff up, Jen.
And he even changed your lights, like to make them make you be all green in the background.
It's bullshit. Anyhow, so Miss Holly says, not at all, Jesse. She was not doing any editing. I know you weren't, Holly. I just like to pick on you and have fun with you. Yeah, so the holidays, I think what I like about the conversation, Jen, is we are like, again, kind of the root of everything that we do. It's about the whole person, right? It's about our experience as human beings here on this world. And the holidays evoke stuff, right? For some people, it's this brilliant holiday, like just because it's the holidays, everything is glorious. And then for others, I mean, it's everything in between. I'm going to say that just like Adam says here, the Grinch, I have that reputation of being the Grinch because I don't get excited about it. And really, I don't understand why I need to be more excited than I already am about living. And so but it's this thing, right? It comes out contrarian, but that's not where I'm coming from. And then it's a spiral starting to explain it. Like, okay, fine. Like you win. Let me go jingle around. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And Holly says, that's hilarious. So there we go. Amazing video. Freaking Grinch. Oh, look at that. Leslie said that was a literal LOL. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, Leslie. So, and buddy, so we talked about it in the pop-up yesterday. I was not going to be wearing a shirt, and I didn't wear a shirt. So that's the way I got past the NoBS extreme censorship. Anyhow, so Jen, where should we start with this?
Well, I want to ask a question because, and I'm fine answering it too, but I want to ask a question because I think it's a good place to start. So it's the holidays. And so every time we come up to anybody, interact with anybody, the first question I usually get, or that I'm a part of a conversation, is, what do you love the most about the holidays? What are you most excited about the holidays? And that's like what I get, like, what are you looking forward to? So I'm going to ask you that question, and then I will answer that question. So what are you looking forward to the most over the next month?
I like food. Right? Like around this time of year, the tamales, the menudo, the pozole, like all of that is what I look forward to. Like that's what's unique, I guess, about this time of year is the types of food that are like super readily available. That's what I'm excited about.
Okay. And when you holidays though, you do get together with your family, right?
Oh man, yeah. So yes. However, well, it's better now. Like before, I would say before the last 3 years, when I got together with my family, I was on the clock, meaning it was an hour. It was 60 minutes from the time I showed up to the time I was going to leave. Whether the food was ready or not, I was going to be there 60 minutes. And that's because of like all the drama and emotional stuff that happens, like the, passive aggressive discontent that we carry and don't like communicate and release starts bubbling up. And it usually within that hour, and here's the thing, it's like, yes, I can be quiet, and yes, I can like stay or keep from saying something. But because it's family and we know each other so intimately, I make a face, and that is an aggressive, all of a sudden, that's an aggressive act, right? It's an act of war. And I may have just had gas, but it doesn't matter because the way they're interpreting it is that I'm angry or I'm upset. And then it starts the spiral. So that is why I had like the 1 hour limit. Like, okay, what time's food gonna be ready? So I can eat with everybody. And if the food wasn't ready, I was still leaving in an hour because the longer I stayed, the more difficult it was for me to feel accepted. And then I would respond defensively, and then things would just fall apart. Now, I can do 2 to 3 hours. And I think I credit my nephew and my niece, the Raptors. I credit them with that because I could just goof off with them and be silly, crazy, and loud, and I get a pass. Right when the small talk starts, I can hide away in little kid land, which is like one of the beautiful things about kids is they just accept you for who you are. There's no judgment. They don't carry all the head garbage, and I can have fun with them. So that helps me stay longer.
And so when you showed up before with your time and stuff, you were showing it was for you. Like you were just making sure you were checking the box and doing the thing that was expected of you. Like you were that was the time.
Yes.
Yeah. And so now it's still the same, or that's what's transitioned? Is that now it's more about what?
It's still the same. I mean, here's the thing. I could see them anytime I want.
True.
Like I could go to the house anytime. Um, so it's this thing, right? Like, oh, we got okay, I'm gonna go. Um, and it can happen anytime. So that's kind of the confusing thing for me is this can be done anytime, um, without decorations.
So, I love the way you explained all that, because I feel I'm exactly 100% aligned and feel the exact same way about what you just said for around Valentine's Day. And
Exactly.
so I've always been that way. And so again, where I can relate to you, the holidays aren't as much as it is for Valentine's Day, but it's like, why do I got to show you I love you today? Like, doesn't make
Same.
sense.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Well, it's Dana's bringing some heat.
Okay, bring
I
it.
said we
Let's
just
see.
go there. Thank you,
Yes.
Dana, for being so vulnerable here. She says this is her first holiday post divorce.
Mhm.
I usually look forward to time with extended family. I was thrown a curveball this Thanksgiving as my Annie got a fever. So this mama who never cooked, oh, this is so good, who never cooked a turkey in her life, attempted. But what was the most precious was the alone time with just my girls. We played loads of games. The girls loved helping cook as well. It was unexpected, but ended up being so memorable. So talking about firsts, like after less than awesome things, like less than awesome life events, Jen, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm gonna talk about a big memory for me when it comes to Thanksgiving, because we're going through that this week. And so I'm the turkey person. Like, I make the turkey, and and that's I'm about I'm a- you know I'm it's what I do. It's my responsibility, whether it's at my house, whether it's at somebody else's house, whether I'm making it for my family, for someone else's family. I make a turkey every year. And where that started, ooh, was, so my mom and dad got divorced when I was 9.
Yeah,
Let's make our kids nowadays are not the kids we were back then. when
right.
when I was 9, my mom and dad got divorced. So our first Thanksgiving without her, I was with my dad and my brothers. Um, it was My dad wanted me to to help make the turkey, and I was like, I don't know what to. So I remember being in our kitchen, probably at 10, and the rotary phones that were on the wall, and you had the really long cord because you were able to walk around. So I remember, like, the phone, having my mom walk me through, like, getting the turkey prepped. Back then you put the stuffing inside and all, I mean, like, all, I remember that. It was, it was 10. And like, that was, it was crazy, because what it did is all of a sudden it empowered me to do this, something that some people that have never made a turkey. Dana talked about that, but like that at that point, it gave me the power to know that I can do something that it completely dictates that holiday. Like, the turkey's a big deal, and so now it's my job, it's what I do, but now I'm trying to pass some of that on to my kids. And when we talk about it, we have some turkey stories that we'll talk about, just who makes the turkey, who brings the turkey, do they bring all the turkey, do they save some of the turkey? Just there's all kinds of funny stories that go along with the turkey. But that's a memory that I can visually see that, and it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So, and as you were going through, getting coached through making the turkey,
Mm-hmm.
you were, would you say 9 years old?
So 10. So
You were
10.
10 years old. What kind of fear did you have?
Oh, that it was going to be a disaster. And it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't great. Like, I remember it being not the best turkey in the world, but I think my concern was, again, and it goes back to, and it goes back to what you said. It goes back to, like, oh my gosh, the hype and the this, and it's got to be this, and all this stuff. And even back then, it's like, if you screw up the turkey, like, Thanksgiving is canceled. Like, Thanksgiving is a disaster. Thanksgiving is not going to be, it's not even going to exist, because like, at that point, that's where I was. And so it was so much, and that was like 40 years ago. And I literally can feel it right now, when I was so worried about um, I was so worried about that. But my dad helped a little bit. So again, my dad's been gone for 20 years, but that I remember a story he told me on Thanksgiving that helped me. So I was prepping it and I was stressing and, trying to talk to mom on the phone. She was up in Philadelphia. And he comes up and he says, let me tell you about your mom and our first Thanksgiving together. I was like, okay, this was before we existed. He goes, she was first, a new wife, wanted to have this wonderful, amazing Thanksgiving. And she, her mom, her mom coached her through it, all that. Turkey's almost done. He goes, so I go in with red food coloring and put red food coloring all over the turkey. And so she pulls it out and thinks it's still raw. And it like almost devastated. And it was like one of those that he had to pay for that forever. But it also made me realize like he doesn't care. Like he doesn't care if the turkey's great, if the turkey's not great. So again, it was one of those moments that helped me realize too that it's about more than just the turkey.
100%. Thank you. We're going to come back to that. So Steve Martin says, was the phone avocado green?
Pale yellow.
Look, and so Leslie got it right. She says, thank you for sharing the turkey. She could see you with the cord and the phone was yellow.
Yes. The green ones were on the sitting down and the yellow ones are the ones that hung up
on the wall. Yep. Oh yeah. So I think that's part of what maybe irks me is like this weird expectation that I don't understand. Like I still don't. I know I expect it every year, right? And so like when the holidays are coming, I'm like, okay, like try to be excited or whatever that is. But if we don't have a turkey, we could still get together, right? If we don't have ham or tamales or whatever, we could still get together. Like it's this thing that maybe there's like some subconscious stuff, but I don't ever really remember a bad experience at this time of year. Maybe I blocked it out, but I just always kind of did it like all of these, we got the cranberry sauce, like all these things had to be perfect. The level of excitement and if they weren't, like, so what? We're still here. Like Dana shared, right? Like it was an amazing experience. We're all together and having fun. So it's this interesting thing. So anyways, you're talking about you're 10 years old, you're making the turkey, you're learning how to make the turkey. And there's this like intense amount of pressure because of expectations on a freaking bird. So maybe here's the question. How do we take that level of expectation out of these holidays? And it might help you to think about Valentine's Day because you feel exactly the same way about Valentine's Day. And I just feel that way about all holidays, except for maybe Halloween, because then I can wear my fishnets and not get arrested.
Well, I think it's a balance. I think like tradition and things that help people like tie people to things and give them something to remember people by. Like there's tradition that I think is important. But I also think that we sometimes get so caught up on it has to be perfect and it has to be this recipe. It has to be, we have to do this. And if you don't do this, it reminds me of like, what do you mean I can't eat dessert first? What do you mean I can't have a piece of the pie? What do you mean? Like, because that's not what you do. That's not, that's just, it's like, it's ingrained in us and it's not just holidays. It's just our routines and the way we, like, lean builders. Well, that's what we've always done. Why would we change something? Like it's the mentality and it doesn't just stop when we leave work. It's, that's that's the recipe we've always done. It's just, that's tradition. That's what we do. And we've got to realize that who's there telling you that you can't do something different?
Right. Like Santa Claus is going to get you. Like, come on.
I think it's the balance of having the traditions and the things that you can bring in and celebrate people, things that have happened that, that you want to make sure you're tying things together. But I also think, just like Dana said, like this Thanksgiving was something different for her. And she did things with her girls that she created some things this Thanksgiving that her girls are going to remember and
Yes.
that are now. And so it's like it's a balance, and we can't get caught up, one, on others' expectations, and
Yeah.
two, like doing it for someone else. You know, what are they going to think about me? What, like, that's a big one during the holidays that I feel. I mean, it, you know, we can talk about that in itself, but just what is someone going to think about me? What are they going to do? Are they going to judge me? Am I going to be, you know, am I going to be less than, or am I not, I don't fit in because I'm not doing all these things that everyone else is expecting.
The expectation is there, because that's what I feel when we're having the conversation, right, about me not being all jingly and stuff. So Buddy Brumley says, I came from a split family and I had to eat 2 or 3 times and act excited. So, Buddy, you know, same thing with the family. And it was like, okay, like, we'll do the thing, but, you know, I'm not going to be excited. Like, let's just chill like we would always chill.
Yep.
And then Justin says, great point, Jennifer Lacey. It's interesting how some people will post pictures of the meal, but not of the people they are sharing the meal with. We got to ask ourselves where our priorities.
Oh, that's a great one, Justin.
Gangsta. Well, you know, same thing on the job site. Like, you see it on LinkedIn, on the socials, where somebody will take like, oh, you know, showing appreciation for the trades, and it's like pizza or barbecue laid out. Like, where are the people? Where's the pic of you embracing the apprentice or the day laborer that you have built up a relationship with? Like, those are absent.
Well, but what you just said, and this is, I want to dig into this a little bit. What you just said, like the example, what you just showed, it reminds me of Valentine's Day. And that's, I mean, my brain goes to that. It's that day, and you want to show it, and you want to celebrate it, and you want to show the food and all that. Again, celebrations are great. Recognition is great. Shining a light on things is great. But like, is that the only day you're doing it? And so why is that day the day that you want to celebrate these people? And is it, and so my question, I guess, you know, really, I want to dig into this conversation with you is, I think we forget, and food is huge.
Yes.
And so I want to go into that one. We're finishing up Thanksgiving, going into the holidays. Justin talked about the food piece, but like food is one of those things that it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, who, you know, you have a degree. I don't have a degree. You know, I have a family, extended family with 8 or 10, this, you have one person. Like, food is this one thing that can bring people together and that can put people all at a table, and we're all kind of we're all in the same place. We're not, you know, I'm not higher, you're not lower. It's just like food can do that. And again, I think that's why, and a great example of what you said is like at the job sites, food is like a big deal, and that's how we celebrate with people. Yes. So to me, it's not much different than a Thanksgiving meal, you know. And it's like, what's the point? Why are we doing it? And you know, are the people on the other end receiving the purpose and the reason that you're doing it?
Yes, food is an excellent venue for connection, no doubt. Especially cake, like 7-layer strawberry cake, to be precise. Adam says it's not about the turkey, it's about the dessert. 10 for Mr. James. Welcome, James. I think
I think he's popped in a couple times, but anyway, welcome, James.
Yes, James. Thank you for dropping it. He says, for the record, it's all about the macaroni and cheese. 10 for Big Daddy.
That's your specialty, isn't it?
That is my specialty. So I ran an experiment. Actually, I need to get back with my buddy Aaron. So I this year I tested smoking. Somebody told me, like, bro, put it on the smoker. Like, it's awesome. So I tested it, and it had awesome flavor. But I also like forgot that I had it in the smoker. So I dried it out just a little too much. It didn't have like the extreme creaminess, but that's okay. It was an experiment. But yes, it is all about the mac and cheese. Let's see who else look at it. Steve Martin says, my holidays reality, but I am an INFP. This is my happy face. Thank you, Steve.
I think you and Steve would have a great holiday conversation.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just kind of the thing, right? Is like, I'm not crying, you're crying, right? Like, I'm happy. like let me be happy.
Mhm.
Dana Pearson says food brings people together 100%. Let's see who else we got in. Yeah. Well, so here's a thought. Well, and Leslie says it again, right? Justin Uyar, great point. The people matter much more than the food. And so back to like the expectations, and when I'm like more precisely the desire or expectation to like hit perfect, for things to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Leslie says the imperfect holidays are the more memorable ones. What do you think about that, Jen?
Truth, I would agree. And so those of you that have been on this journey with us for the last year probably know about this, but last year around this time, in fact, within a week or so, we put our tree up and our house flooded. And so a lot of people on here have been on that journey with us. Some of you haven't, but house flooded first week in December. And the week before Christmas, we were completely moved out of our house into a rental, and it was just chaotic mess. And for 3.5 months, we're in our house and then moved back in after it got fixed. And I have at that point, an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old. And so that was not Christmas. That was not normal. There's no part of anything where you're not at home for Christmas that you can fix. You can put lights on it. You can put glitter on it. You can, all of the stuff, all we've talked about this whole week is putting the tree up. Are you sure? Do we need to put the tree up? Is it going to be okay? Remember last year when we put the tree up, we didn't get the ornaments on. And then everything now, my 14-year-old is Mom, we got to make sure we don't leave the dishwasher on. We don't leave the washer on. We got to make sure we do it. Like she's in this mode of we cannot mess up Christmas again. And like, that's where she's living right now because of how December was an utter disaster for us last year. We had so many people. I can't even give all the love out to so many people that helped us through that. Buddy was, I think, the biggest one. He's been with me walking side by side to get that where it was. And it's become part of our family because of it. But it is a memory that my children will never, ever forget. And that is now tied to Christmas.
Okay, so was there only like imperfect, stinky memories with that?
No, there were some crazy memories doing like being at an amazing hotel doing a TikTok with somebody. That's another memory that it's like, Mom, remember when you and Jesse were right there and we did the TikTok?
Make a run for shoddy. Call him Ed Sheeran, he in love with my body. Get into it, yo. Pop out with a truck.
That one? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. And so again, so we were able to go with some help from some friends and spend some time at a hotel, and just that threw up Christmas all over it. And Jesse came to visit us, and we recorded our first TikTok there. And that's all they remember. Like the hotel was amazing, Christmas everywhere. Remember when you and Jesse did that TikTok? That's all they remember. So yes, there's other memories too.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make Christmas not be there. But like you said, like our traditional put the tree up, do this, like it completely got turned upside down last year. And we still had Christmas. We still, they still got presents, and we got to spend time together and have meals together. And at no point could we have planned it, but it's like, that's life.
No,
Leslie, no.
Make a run for shoddy. Call him Ed Sheeran, he in love with my body. Get into it, yo. Pop out with a truck. Get into it, yo. If you go to church, I said get into it, yo. I just shit. But I forget get into it, yo. And I said, but I forget get into it, yo. And I said.
There you go, Miss Leslie. Thank you. That's the other thing about the NoBS tribe, right? Is they have excellent taste, like highly evolved palate for high caliber talent. Thank you, Leslie, for getting me out of the hot water on that one.
Well, Steve Martin, remember, Mom, where are we going to be?
We're going to be for Christmas together. Uh-oh.
I mean, that was my.
Jenny, there you go.
Yes. I saw it kind
Okay,
of spin.
good.
Okay, yes, but yeah, I mean, that was the legit question that came up last year. It's like, where are we going to be for Christmas? And we did not know. Like, we did not know if things were going to work out. We were going to be in a hotel. We were going to be in a rental. It was, yeah. So, but we made it. It was fine.
It was good. Well, you mentioned tradition, and Justin and this helps, right? So Justin says, I think the focus on the meals and traditions can sometimes be a coping mechanism for avoiding the uncomfortable expectations of a big family get together. And like for me, the fact that I'm in charge of the mac and cheese or the beans or whatever, like my specialties are, um, gives me purpose to go do the thing, to go be present at the thing. Um, like for real, if it wasn't for the meat, like me having to create, like cook something and like bring the dish to the deal, there's a good chance that I wouldn't go. But just because of all the other stuff, right? The stuff that's not. So yeah, Justin, that's a solid read, my man. It can be a coping mechanism for somebody, for some of us, namely me, because I'm really good at finding things to do and staying busy, to avoid drama and stressful family stuff.
Well, Jesse, let's dig into that a little bit, because I mean, what you just said just explains that you're human. And you think that's unique to you, that you don't want to go into an uncomfortable, drama-filled situation?
No, not at all.
And so, like, when we think about the holidays, I know there's the highs, there's the things that we think about when it comes to presents and gifts and lights and all those things, but we also know that there's also expectations coming in that we're going to, have some uncomfortable conversations. Somebody may show up with somebody doesn't like. I mean, there's just so much. There's so much inner workings when it comes to holidays, but it's like, okay, we're getting together, and you're getting people together that maybe sometimes don't spend a lot of time together, maybe don't like each other. Maybe there's some history there or some things that happened in the past that you haven't dealt with and really worked through. And then you're now face to face at this meal, putting on a happy face, not really going there. And so, I guess my comment to that is, you and I, Jesse, talk a lot about very uncomfortable things sometimes on this call, and that, being transparent and being real is we have to show up that way, because if we don't, then, it doesn't help for us to just skate through the surface. And so maybe think about that. Thanksgiving just happened. You got Christmas coming up. Are there some conversations out there, some uncomfortable conversations that maybe need to happen, or maybe some things that could, bring closure, or could also maybe get you to bridge a gap between someone else out there that you haven't had a conversation with in a while. And it could just be they're waiting for you, you're waiting for them. And somebody's going to have to be first. And so just kind of think about that.
Yeah, somebody does have to go first. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that the other parties are going to come over, right? They may be just content to live in denial. Now, the other thing, like this, you were talking, I heard you didn't use the word, but what I'm hearing is authenticity, right? And
yes,
just being myself. So two things happen in the holidays for me. I talked about the kids, right? And me being silly and crazy and wild, because I can, like, that's a fun, good time. And it gets me, it's an escape from the small talk, the chit chat, the polite behavior and all these things. So that's one thing. The other thing is this thing about why aren't you excited and why aren't you decorating and why, like, all of this stuff. I really don't know. Like, and I think every year I start thinking about it. I really don't know why I'm not excited. I really don't know why I don't get all goofy and, I want to watch Christmas movies and listen. Like, I don't know. And I think it's great that people are that way, because that's kind of how I feel all the time. When people think I'm crazy all year long because of my energy and my excitement and my antics, that's how I see y'all behave during the holidays. It's like, why don't you do that all the time? Anyways, so people will ask, like, why aren't you excited? And what happened? And what's wrong? And And it's kind of like, if this is like for real, I was born with a beautiful tan. right? I had no control over that. And in some cases, it's benefited me. In other cases, it's been very difficult, right? I've been judged, I've been overlooked, like all the things because of something I didn't have control over. And when people start nagging me about being excited about Christmas, it feels the same because I don't know I don't know how to do that. Like, I'm excited. I don't know how to make you think I'm excited. And then it just keeps on like, well, what in weird? Well, you should think of this and you should think about your family. And she's like, okay. I don't know how to change that. And so it's like, it's this judgment. That's what it feels like. It's this invasive judgment because I'm not wearing jingle bells off my ears. I don't. Does that make sense? Does that make any sense?
It does. Well, it does. And I'm telling you what, when you were talking just now, what it made me go to, which was not intended, was when you and I were talking through Lean in Love. We were getting that together and we were talking through those things when it comes to personal relationships and all that. Like that, there's a piece in there about uncommunicated expectations. There's a piece in there about, well, why are you not excited about this? And why, and like those things that we put on someone else. And they should be just as excited as we are about something, or they should want to do this just as much as we want to do it. And so we dug into that with a personal relationship. This doesn't sound much different than having expectations. Like who am I to have expectations that you should do things exactly the way I do them? Because I'm going to, you just said this and it made my brain go, I know a lot of what I do is to fill gaps that were left behind because people died. And so for me, that's how I do that. Whether you have a gap, you don't have a gap, you may not be trying to fill something. So the reason that I make a big deal about something, or something triggers me and makes me sad, or makes me, want to do something and be determined that we are going to do this as a Christmas tree or whatever that is. For me, it's tied to having lost my dad 20 years ago. And my dad was he was a single father raising 4 kids. And so every Christmas growing up was with him. Yeah. Every Christmas as adults were split between, spending time with him and then spending time with Christmas was huge with my dad as a part of it. And then all of a sudden my dad wasn't there. And so it's trying to fill those gaps and trying to not forget the things that mattered and that were so big for him, but also fill that gap of, okay, what can we do to still keep that going and then make everyone else happy? And so a lot of the decisions and the things that I do, I go into Home Depot in the middle of October and all the Christmas trees are up and everyone's like, what the hell? Why are there Christmas trees up in October? But I walk into Home Depot and I see Christmas trees and all I think about is my dad. Yeah. That's all I think about is my dad, because one, he had a shop. And so the smell of Home Depot, the Christmas trees, the lights, sometimes all we had was a Christmas tree with lights. We had no ornaments. We had whatever. So all of that, I'm sitting there, just my heart is filled and they're just like, what is wrong with you? Yeah. So we can't just assume.
You can't judge either way. Right. I mean, and I think maybe that's the point, is Christmas and the decorating and all the stuff for you is a celebration of your dad. And it's a tone of carrying the memory forward and bringing back those feelings. Mm-hmm. And I can't judge you for that. And my reaction to the holidays is my reaction for whatever reasons. Right. And so the judgment and the expectation is what creates a divide. And what we're here, I mean, the reason we want to talk about this conversation, it wasn't going to be all jingle bells, right? We want to talk about the real so we can demo the divide. Yep. And just we got to do this because as we're demoing the divide, we got to recognize people. Yes. Miss Leslie says, thank you, Jesse. You made my day.
Thanks.
There may be a little bit of a selfish theme here. Steve Martin says it's because you're authentic, Jesse, and it's okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Steve. Jim says, I'm on Jesse's boat on the holidays. Yeah, baby. Hashtag Team Jess. Steve says, me too. And then Adam, he's going to get us a custom green yacht. It's the Grinch yacht, and you know who's going to be on it, baby. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all very much. I think that's an important thing, right? Is that hopefully talking about this stuff helps us, well, I guess hopefully help. Like right now, I don't feel like I'm alone anymore, even though I
Good.
felt alone on my perception of the holidays, or the expected holiday behavior.
Yes.
So what do you say we switch a little bit here?
Okay.
Denver, what's going on, Denver? Thanks for coming
Morning,
back.
Denver.
He says, my wife and I have 2 boys, both under 3 years. Oh, man, that's fun time. And although I have had some tough holidays in recent years, I'm excited about the opportunities to create new experiences and establish traditions in my own home. The challenging part is that it involves establishing boundaries with my extended family. Oh, baby. Not always easy. What do you think, Jen?
Oh,
The tribe, like y'all, I
He's
know
like-
all of y'all, we all be
like
going through this.
Denver, like you are so true. And Jesse and I had a conversation about this yesterday. And so I want to go there because that's huge. Is one, you have families, now new families, then you're trying to do some things yourself, you're trying to bring tradition in, and then you have that extended family that before was your family. And so there were traditions and expectations that happened, and then all of a sudden there are new family members, there are kids. And so I want to tell the story because it's so important. Hopefully I can get through it. But 15 years ago, I got a gift for Christmas, and I still use it today. It is one of the most amazing gifts that I ever received as a Christmas present from someone else 15 years ago.
Mm.
And it reminds me every time I use it that they should have never spent that money on me. Never should have spent that money on me. And so what happened was I have 3 brothers, and 15 years ago, we started, people getting together, kids were coming into the picture. And up until then, it was just us. So, you'd go, you'd buy presents for each other, dad, whatever that was, just went through all that. And it was a Christmas that we were together, and my brother and his wife got me a KitchenAid stand mixer, which I bake. So it's amazing. And everything they bought that Christmas, now they had a young, like 2 or 3 year old, was on credit, everything, because they wanted to make sure that they, were giving gifts. They were doing the things that were expected and that people were happy and they were opening gifts. And again, amazing gift, but they were paying on that Christmas probably for 2 or 3 years. Young family, young baby, because we were getting together and the expectation was that, everybody was going to get everybody gifts and new people into the family. And that it was just this one big Christmas explosion. It was. But what I think at that moment, it was just wanting to be accepted. What was the perception? What is someone going to think about me if I don't do this, if I don't show up with this, if I'm not at this level, if my gifts are not at this level? Those are things that I hate to say it, but people think about all the time. And a lot of times we put those expectations on people because we don't communicate anything or because it's the way we've always done it. And that I think that Christmas made me realize, like, if I don't do something and say something different, we're going to continue down this road and it's going to be disastrous. So at that Christmas, after that Christmas, we then drew names and you got one gift from you bought one gift for whoever's name you drew. And it was completely different than we'd ever done it. But if I didn't change it, there'd be people that are still paying off freaking credit cards for things because the expectation was there. And that's not fair. That's not fair. One, that we're putting those expectations on ourselves and we can't step up and we can't be authentic and be real enough to go, I can't do this. But on the other side is we've also got to be able to take off some of that pressure and be able to have some of those conversations that are not comfortable. And that, I'm going to tell you, money, anything that has to do with money, I know with my family, people don't like to borrow money. People don't like to talk about money. People don't like to lend money. People, people don't want to call people after they've borrowed money and want to get their money. Like nobody wants to talk about money. Yet people will spend way more money than they need to on things that you may not even care about. Just, I know you say like you're going to get something that you may not even want, yet they spent money on it because the expectation is that they needed to buy a present. And so we had to change the narrative in our family. And then we had kids starting to come and be born. And then all of a sudden it was like, why? It cannot be about us, and it cannot be about the expectation. But, why are we getting together? What is your
point? We're getting together. That's for me, all the other stuff is kind of static. We're getting together. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. All other stuff, like, come on, you're taking away the awesomeness. The gift thing is, so two things on the gift things. I'm 100% on board with you with like this competitive thing that happens with the gift giving and the watching and expecting somebody, like being disappointed because she wasn't very excited about my gift. And so like all of that stuff, like, and I like the same thing. Like, I know you broke. You ain't gotta go buy me expensive stuff. Like, give me a tamale. I can unwrap that. Like, it's good. Now, gifts for me, here's the thing. I have everything that I want. I have way more than I need. And so a gift, when people give me gifts, it's difficult because I may not like it. I may not want it. And then like now I got to hold on to it for at least 6 months before I give it away because it'll be rude. And I know you can't afford it. Right? And you really didn't need to spend that. So it's like, thank you for the thought, but now I have this thing that I have to do something with that I didn't ask for. I know that sounds super grinchy, but it's like, it's a funky thing for me. Like, I appreciate that people love me. I appreciate that people want to do things for me, 100%. But the gift, it's extra stuff. I mean, it really feels, when you order something from Amazon and it's like this big and it comes in a package with all kinds of extra stuff that like, I just wanted this thing. I don't want this 10 pounds of trash. That's kind of how I feel when I'm getting gifts. Now, the other side of it is me getting gifts for people. This is going to sound funny, but it's true. Like, it was very, very difficult for me to get gifts for anybody, particularly my family. So I would do gift cards, and that was like, well, Jesse's just going to get us gift cards. Like, well, yeah, because I don't know what you want. And I remember one Christmas when I started getting past like the 1 hour timeline, started stretching that out. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, man, they're getting like amazing, like beautiful, like great, meaningful gifts for each other. And I'm like, how do they do that? And I said, oh, it's because they spend a lot of time together. Duh! Like, it's kind of like my hugging problem, right? Like, I just didn't know. You spend more time with people, you'll have a better understanding, or you're better equipped to do something special and thoughtful for them. Stupid. Like, I didn't for real. I didn't know that. And Amy says, I prefer my Christmas to be simple but elegant. Contending against the overabundance mindsets is not something I desire to engage in. It actually makes me very uncomfortable. Does that sound like it's in alignment with what you were just saying, Ms. Jen?
Absolutely. And I think what I've realized in my more experienced years is, and I hate to say it, but it's that first step in our SRRR cycle is I don't think we realize how much and how important it is when we just show up. Like, us as the people we are and the people we are to the other people in our lives, and showing up to a breakfast, showing up and spending time together, showing up and running around and making everyone telling you to stop being happy, Jesse. But just when we show up and we are in the moment, not worried about what's on our phones, not worried about what we're doing tomorrow, when we can really truly be in that moment and being able to have those conversations and get to know people and get to know, we had our breakfast, Jesse, and it was like magical. And, I was like dancing around and they're like, Jesse, I'm like, there was nothing else in that moment that could have made me happier than being there with a group of people that were meeting face to face for the first time and having conversations. Some people were struggling, some people were sharing a celebration, like all these things were there's nothing more that could have made that better. Nothing.
Yeah.
And like, because that's, and it's because people showed up. And like if we can take that and think about that in the holiday setting, showing up and just being real and having a face-to-face and sitting down and talking about traditions or talking about, things like that, what do you need? What do you like? To me, though, that's the magic. Some people have found it. Some people are still trying to figure it out. Some people are still like, don't even know. And some of us may be the people that have to escort them there, Jesse.
Oh, escort them through self-discovery. Yes, ma'am. So Ian Smith says Christmas is when I get new socks and underwear. Otherwise, he wouldn't remember to buy it for himself. 10-4, Ian. And just so y'all know, if I'm going commando, it's because I didn't get my Christmas gifts. Thank you, Ian. But like on a more serious note, Maria, she says, time isn't real. We do Christmas morning on the eve, and this mom does not allow strange men to watch us all year or come in our house, even with presents. Didn't you and Maria just do something kind of related to the topic?
We did. And it was Maria's brainchild. So she and I were talking about the holidays and just some things that, some grief and whether you're dealing with a death or dealing with, something traumatic that's happened, there's all these things that can kind of be elevated during the holiday season. And so we did a webinar internally in the company, Robinson Morton, that we work for. And we're really dug into like, what is grief and what does grief look like? And how do people work through the holidays when they're trying to deal with that? And it was, again, amazing. She carried the whole show. But it was her, like, we really need to talk about that. And I think the biggest thing that came from it was when we were kind of like, okay, what do we do? What do we talk about? Well, let's just put it out there. It was added to the training classes and all that, the webinars, put it out there. And within a couple of hours, like 15 people had immediately jumped on it. And for me, it made me realize, like, it's a topic that is super uncomfortable. No one wants to talk about grief. No one wants to talk about how this is making them feel, not okay. Yet Maria and I, the whole show was Maria and I talking. It wasn't trying to get people to share. It was just she and I talking through and asking questions. And people just jumped in because they wanted to be a part of it because of how they were feeling.
Yes. And I mean, that's kind of the beautiful thing that we get to do, Jen, is have those conversations that we've had plenty of comments that are like, hey, it's not all tinsel all over the tinsel and snowflakes. Like there's some tough stuff that we have to contend with specifically because of the holidays. And so our buddy Vince, again, y'all, folks, I'm seeing like names in here that I haven't seen before.
That have not been on.
We thank you, Vince, for commenting. Folks, let's swarm him, connect, and let's support each other through this. Thank you, Vince, for the comment. He says, for many, like me, holidays are a reminder of time spent with family and friends in the early years. And now through the loss of family, through death, divorce, or whatever reason, the holidays are a reminder of those losses and are very difficult. The holidays create added pressure of what to purchase, what meal to cook. When can we get together? Pressure on top of pressure. I have a love-hate relationship with Thanksgiving through Christmas because it reminds me of what life was and wasn't. And that pretty much sums up what we're talking about, Jen. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay, so while you're catching your breath, Jim adds, he says, grief is the biggest struggle during the holiday seasons. Right. And I know, so I have a loss that I experienced, and it wasn't connected to the holidays, but it happened in December. No. I'm sorry. It didn't happen in December. Her birthday is a week after my birthday, which is in December. And so this time of year, like when I get near my birthday, I can't help but think about that. We're in 7th grade and she passed. And here I am, I'm going to be 47 in December. And I still remember her phone number. I still remember sitting behind her, braiding her hair. I still remember so much. And usually it doesn't, it's not like I ignore it, but coming around my birthday is when those ideas, those feelings, that the grief and the loss come back for a moment. And, every year it gets a little lighter, but it's still something that we have to contend with. What are you chewing on over there, Jen?
Thanksgiving's tough. Thanksgiving's tough for me, and it's we're through it, so that's a good thing. But I just have it's a huge trigger for me with my family, and it scares me to death when we have a Thanksgiving, and their people are not there, and so I don't like this conversation, but we're gonna go there. And so my dad's been gone 20 years, and I talk about him a lot. Talk about him on the show. Talk about him on on LinkedIn. And so his last Thanksgiving, which nobody knew, nobody knows when something's going to happen. His last Thanksgiving, I was in Arkansas with two of my brothers, and my dad was decided to stay home with to do Thanksgiving with my youngest brother. So my youngest brother wasn't going to travel. So he's like, that's okay. I'll just do Thanksgiving here. And he and I will just do Thanksgiving together. So we were in Arkansas getting ready. We're doing our meal. And my dad calls us crying. And I remember seeing and hearing my dad cry 2 times in my life. One when I was 9 and that Thanksgiving morning. And he cried because my brother blew him off. My little brother blew him off, and he had gone and got food and was going to make a meal for my brother and his wife, and my brother blew him off, and he spent Thanksgiving alone at home. He has 4 kids, and that was his last Thanksgiving. And we didn't know that. And so Thanksgiving is hard for us. I mean, we get to celebrate, and it's wonderful, and we have families. And so usually my mom's a part of it. This year she wasn't. So it scared me to death, because it's like, hopefully this isn't the last Thanksgiving that she's alive. I have other brothers that have health issues and stuff. And so every time I think about Thanksgiving, it's like, how can I maximize this day and do the best I can to be here for these people? But also it's always in the back of my mind that we're not promised anything. We're not promised whatever. So are you living your days every day that people know how important they are to you, how they feel? Are you showing up? Are you doing the things that that you can do, that you have control over, because you may not get it again? And I mean, it sucks because you can't go back and fix it, and we didn't know. But that's a memory it's been 20 years, and Thanksgiving is a trigger for that. It doesn't matter. And so that's, I think, another conversation is, Marie and I talked about this, is, somebody could have lost somebody a month ago. They could have lost somebody 20 years ago. Holidays trigger things that it doesn't matter how long ago it was. It shouldn't be, Jennifer. You should be over that. That should be easier. That is not how grief works.
Right. It's okay. So let's throw a question out there to the tribe. It's like, how do you explain grief? Because I think you said it perfectly. The math doesn't math when you say, hey, be happy, right? I have grief that I'm processing. It's very similar to, hey, be excited. It's the holidays. It doesn't work that way. So I'm curious, actually, this will help me learn about like how people manage and deal with grief, because it's something that I've masked for so many years with work and staying busy and being fun and being energetic and like all the things, because I don't necessarily know how to deal with it. So please give us your cheat codes there. Dana says, hug to you, Jen. Thank you for sharing that story. Great reminder. Maria says that class that y'all had on grief was the most beautiful class that she's ever done. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Is when we do things in service to others, things become very, like, really beautiful, because it's clear that we're going to get uncomfortable, right? We're going to share some secret, tender spots. And when we do that, it gives other people permission to do the same. Is that fair?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. So we got 11 minutes. The clock is ticking. I posted the chat. I'm sorry, the after party link and the different things. And I didn't know this, so apologies. Jen helped me understand that apparently when I post, I thought like if I post the link at the chat, you could just get it. But it gets lost in the chat and you have to go back and watch it live. So maybe a cheat code is if you see it right now on the Facebook, on the LinkedIn, on the YouTube, click it, it'll open a window and then you can access it later. But it's also on the NoBS page on LinkedIn, the link to the after party so we can hear. So Jen and I get to hear y'all's voices because
Yes.
we really, like that's the super, super awesome stuff. We got them comments coming in.
Hey, come on. Bring.
Denver says it's the challenge of not working to let family members down based on their expectations, prioritizing my immediate family as opposed to people pleasing and finding that balance. Like that's the tough thing, right? Like if I'm grieving, Jim, you're right there with us, right? If I'm grieving, give me some grace. If I'm not dancing around and singing Jingle Bell Rock, I got some stuff that I got to deal with. And also, I can't be nasty to people, right? Like it's a thing. You know what disarms it? This is silly. What disarms it is me saying I'm grieving right now. Like, whoa, all of it. People understand that, but we have to let them in. I have to say, look, that week of December 10th through December 19th, that's a heavy week for me. I'm not going to be all silly and goofy. I may not do any TikTok dances. I'm still here, but I am processing some stuff. Some things that help us with that is like Justin says, gift giving it's like praise and attention. Most people enjoy giving gifts and praising others, but don't enjoy when the light is on them. And he's talking about you, girl, because you don't like dancing in the light.
No, I do not.
You know, one thing I learned in my journey through 12-step programs is when I know how I feel when I'm giving somebody a gift or when I'm recognizing somebody. When I reject the gift or reject the praise, I'm robbing them of that gift of giving. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not letting them experience the joy that I experience when I'm giving. So maybe that's something for us to chew on. Curious Idealist, what's going on, sister? She got a brand new little baby. She describes grief as never ending and very different for each person. I wish there was a cheat code. Damn it. Yes, me too, Angel. Felipe says, grief is an emotion for survivors to experience change. It's a process, not a simple feeling.
Well, grief is a journey, and Maria and I talked about this on our thing, but it's a journey. Like it's not okay, I'm grieving, now I'm not grieving. Like it's just it's going to be a real hard, painful one early on, and then it may get a little less than where it is. But like we can never expect someone to just go, okay, it's been enough time, or okay, you've been dealing with that. Okay, you've been sad. You're not eating. You've been, you look like a mess. Whatever that is. Okay, now it's time. Now it's time for you to get your life back together. Like it's never just going to be like a light switch that you turn on and off. It's just not.
No. We have to process it. And I know for me, therapists, friends, allowing people to speak into my life helps the process because I tried to stuff it for too long. That's like you can, for me in Jesse Land, there is a limit as to how much I can stuff. And I reached that limit and then it just started overflowing. It took years to reach the limit, but I did. And as I invite people into my life, things get easier or better. And then we got so Jen, we have some people talking in the back of the room, like not paying attention. Justin's talking to Adam, what's on your mind this time of year? And then Adam sending a love note back says, my focus is always on family getting together. Our family has an amazing tradition of calling other family on Christmas Eve, singing, we wish you a Merry Christmas, and immediately hanging up. It's a riot, not something my family typically does, but so we had
that's magic too, Jesse. And you and I talked about this, that the stuff that happens in the comments, those of you that are new or are not usually on our show, like find those people, like them, follow them, because these people are amazing people. And there's so much usually going on in the comments that we usually can't bring everything up. So go back as you're watching the show and, make sure you're looking, because the magic of this tribe is not just you and I up here trying to act, whatever we're doing. It's the people that show up and that are having conversations, real conversations, and sharing and building relationships.
100%. And when it comes to building relationships, vulnerability in my head, and Adam, we haven't had to talk about the documentary that you recommended, which was a good one this time. It was excellent. I believe vulnerability to be the key to life now. And Curious Idealist, Miss Angel says, I don't talk about this often, but I lost my mom when I was 13. And in my 30s, I'm still processing and trying to figure out how to deal with it. Angel, thank you so much for sharing such an intimate experience with us. And folks, we may not have the words. We probably don't have the words, but we can be there, right? We can show up and we can receive what she's bringing. We can reflect on it and we can reciprocate. So let's send Angel some love out there, and some healing vibes as with regard to her processing through the loss. Thank you, Angel. Amazing.
So can I throw some challenges and some things?
Do it.
Okay. So a couple of things I want y'all to think about over the next month as you're kind of prepping parties, gifts, you're having conversations with people. Like, number one, remember that we have no idea what someone's dealing with on the inside. We just don't. And people deal with things differently. So I'm just asking everyone, one, show up. If someone asks for you to be there, if someone requests for you to be there, they say they need you, they whatever. Like, I have a brother that two brothers that they show up and they hang lights on my house, on my mom's house. Like, that's what they do. And that's like, it's a big deal. So if someone asks you for something, show up and give them your attention. And it's so easy right now with phones and electronics and social. There's so many things that, and I see it, I witness it. I'm guilty of when you're there, like, be there and be in that space, listen more than you talk, find a couple questions that if you feel like that, you need something to get get it started. Cause people are not just going to go, other than Jesse, they're not just going to start, telling you, but like, have a couple questions that are not about you. Have some questions that are really opening the door to letting them start, and then just be there. No distractions. No, you have a time limit, 60 minutes. I'm not like, don't do that. Just be there and see how those conversations evolve and what can happen from them. And, and even those relationships. And then I'm going to ask everyone, because we talked about it on the show, that we have a show on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve. And that's 2 shows away. So it's a month away. And so for us, the most amazing gift that you can do is if you can just show up. If you're busy, we understand you have to go watch the replay, but like, that would be the most magical gift for me personally, if you could show up and be there and be a part of that, going into Christmas Eve and Christmas and stuff like that. So there we go.
Agreed. And I have a challenge. Actually, it's a request for help, because I went and decorated, and all my decorations and all my gifts were stolen. So if you see this person, report him. Please, because he just robbed me of all my Christmas excitement. And with that, y'all, we're going to be going to the after party. It'll start at, thank you. Look at that. Join us at the LinkedIn after party, baby. Appreciate y'all very much. I absolve you of all the calories you ate the past couple of days. That is my gift to you, because I love you. You good, Jen?
Yes, I'm good. Just if you can't find the link, again, Jesse gave us 1,000 ways. Go to the NoBS page, scroll down, you'll see the one that you can click on if you need it.
Yes, yes. Looking forward to hear y'all's voices. Be cool.
Whoop, whoop.
Peace.